welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and I've been given a brew challenge by Patreon subscriber 93 to build around the Raven's Warning. This costs 1 a white and a blue for an enchantment, Saga. Chapter 1, make a 1/1 blue bird. With flying, you gain 2 life. Chapter 2, whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player this turn, look at that player's hand and draw a card. 3, you may put a card you own from outside the game on top of your library. What does this card ask us to do? First of all, play blue-white. Good start. Second, we want to care about flying creatures, at least a little bit. This thing makes a token. There might be something to do with that. And then we get a little bit of a wish board. We can put cards from our sideboard on top of our deck. This card also asks us to play kind of a long game, because 3 mana card, you get the bird. That's turn 3. Turn 4, you attack and draw a card. And then turn 5, you could put a card from your sideboard on top of your deck to then draw and use on turn 6 without any additional manipulation. We need at least a 6-turn game to really cash all this out. And it's an enchantment, which is a card type I can work with. Let's test our BoshNRoll lore knowledge. Are there any blue-white decks that care about flying tokens and enchantments that we could shoehorn this baddie into? Drumroll, please. It's Sharkstill. This is a deck that already does everything the Raven's Warning wants to do. It's blue-white, it's a slow control deck. Staff of the Storyteller triggers off of the 1/1 bird, and then it also generates a flyer to make Chapter 2 more likely to connect. Shark Typhoon, also a flyer, also a token, also an enchantment, which works with Hall of Heliod's Generosity, which can also loop the Raven's Warning. Kind of a natural fit here. I mean, it's kind of low power for Legacy, which is why we don't see it often. But as far as including a challenge card into a deck that already exists, this is almost tailor-made for this situation. The only big thing we needed to do was include a wish board. Like, what are we doing with Chapter 3? What card do we want to put from outside of the game on top of the library? And already a sideboard is a useful thing here, because cards are in your sideboard to improve your deck in certain matchups. If the matchup calls for one of the sideboard cards I was playing anyway, like Lavinia or Blood Moon, I can just wish for that. Or, if I'm feeling spicy, Temporal Mastery, just set up a Time Walk for next turn. If I need to clear the board, Terminus, set that up. And if I have Staff of the Storyteller, I can even flip Terminus or Temporal Mastery on their very next turn, after putting it on my turn after the saga runs its course. Then we got some other sideboard banger one-ofs, like Moat and Rest in Peace, and Replenish. This is a card that has slid in and out of my Sharkstill decks over the years. It's one of the memeier things. It returns all your Sharkstills, or your Shark Typhoons from the graveyard to the battlefield. And it's not really worth a slot, but if I can set up a situation where I've cycled a Shark Typhoon and the Raven's Warning reached its last chapter and get a couple back, just set this up if the ghost is clear, this is a perfect place to put it. Another fun interaction baked into this deck is the Raven's Warning reads, whenever 1 or more creatures you control with flying deal combat damage to a player this turn. Generally, in a 2-player game, you can only deal damage in combat to a player 1 time in a turn. The way this is worded, if I hit my opponent with 5 flying creatures in the turn, I still only draw 1 card because that's 1 or more. However, the Wandering Emperor gives me a small outside chance of drawing 2 cards. Put a +1 counter on target creature, it gains first strike until end of turn. If I give a flyer first strike, and then I have another flyer without first strike, an opponent will take damage from flyer twice that turn. Just a fun little thing that may or may not come up, but it's there if you look for it. And that's what I'm doing today, is the triumphant return of, I guess this is Shark Tail. I think that's what we've been calling it, because Standstill is long gone from the deck. Staff of the Storyteller just functionally replaced Standstill as a better card in all the same spots. But Raven's Warning, easy to fit in. Let's see how it works.
I'm on the play for round 1. I'm going to keep my hand, Island Ponder. Those are the rules. There's no Surveil lands in this deck. There's always like this little friction with any deck with fetch lands these days where it's like, do I just pop a Meticulous Archive in here? And I think with the Blood Moon plan in the sideboard and I want to play Prismatic Vista, it may or may not be worth it, but I went without it. Lands entering untapped also really important, and we are kind of greedy about our mana here. Okay, I already have a Brainstorm. Don't know if I'll need Dress Down, but I'll put a Force Will in my opening hand. Always happy to see those. Like, this is a deck where having Staff of the Storyteller active and castable on turn 2 is important. Raven's Warning active and castable on turn 3 is important. Cycling Shark Typhoons, a lot of the times, like that one land, it gets your shark up to the correct size to tangle with a Delver or trade with a DRC or whatever. Maybe one Archive is low enough cost that I should try it, but also, I'm just rocking out here. Let me live my life. Okay, this looks like Mono Black Scam. And Stalactite Stalker arrives, is immediately a 2-2. My top card is Brainstorm. I'm actually going to force this pitching Brainstorm. It is correct to pitch the Raven's Warning here, but I'm trying to do something. I got a life to live. The fact that I can represent Counterspell on their next thing, and they let on Swamp, which makes me think this is Black Scam and not Dimir. I might just be wrong. Like, this is just their first land drop. They might have just drawn their Swamp. Okay, Grief. Exiling Troll of Khazad-dûm. I can counterspell this, or I could Brainstorm. I think I want to Brainstorm. I prefer if they didn't Dark Ritual out a Orcish Bowmaster here, and they didn't. I can put back Counterspell and Raven's Warning, or they're likely to take the Counterspell anyway. I kind of wish I had stacked the Dress Down above the Brainstorm now, because dressing down this Grief actually would have been fine. Okay, I think I'm going to put back Shark Typhoon and Raven's Warning. I actually want to cast Raven's Warning next turn. I think that card's going to be good. And if they have the Reanimate, they can strip both Shark Typhoons from my hand, and I want that card in my deck because it's really good later. And I can't do anything with this Counterspell that's clever. They're either going to already have threats in play by the time that shows up, or they're going to take it right now. I'm not going to try to hide that. Dress Down is what they're worried about. Interesting. Cycling another Troll. Swamp. And Reanimate the Grief. Sure. They had the chance to put a 6-er into play, and went with the Disruption creature instead. That makes me pretty happy, rewards my decision to hide Raven's Warning. As if they just made a Troll here and decided to race, that would have been a lot harder to keep up with. I'm going to fetch another Tundra here. I just want access to blue-white, and this is certainly a Wasteland deck. And because I drew one Tundra naturally, I can't fetch a basic here. Just doing what I can do. Fatal Push, okay. So Chapter 2 is not going to do anything. I reanimate this thing, I take 3, Chapter 2, then I take 6, or then I take 9, and then Chapter 3 put Terminus on top. Unless I draw Brainstorm, I'm probably dead, or another removal spell in the interim. Force of Will, alright. That was bad news. If I draw a Brainstorm, or even a Shark Typhoon, I could cycle Shark Typhoon for 0 and flip Terminus, which is actually fine. Swords to Plowshare is great find here. That gets me enough time to do what I want. Alright, deck, hook it up. Well, I'm going to counterspell this. They knew that was coming. Good card. Good card. Narset is not a good card here. This card is not revealed because cards are just cards. But I am dead, so I'm just going to concede. Okay. A few too many threats there. Not enough answers from me. I would like Surgical, Rest in Peace, Grafdigger's Cage all around. Rest in Peace does turn off Replenish and Hall of Heliod's Generosity, but I think that's fine. They're mono black, so I don't need my Pyroblast. Lavinia is not a blank. And having Terminus in the deck to draw versus in the sideboard to set up with Warning is actually a real decision to make. I think I actually want to cut some number of Force of Wills, maybe not all of them. Narset doesn't seem very good here. All my engines actually seem great, just Staff of the Storyteller. I have to worry about Orcish Bowmaster, but if they're mono black, they don't have any way to find that thing other than just draw it. And I have more answers to it than they play copies of it. Okay, I think I'm going to lose another Force of Will here and just try to go 1 for 1 where I can. Let's go. On the play, I have a turn 2 Staff of the Storyteller. I am susceptible to Wasteland and don't have blue mana, both of which are problems. This hand gets just hard locked by Orcish Bowmaster. I think I'm going to mulligan. Yeah, this one's better. I'll keep this, and I'm going to get rid of Force of Will. I just don't think this card's good in the matchup. Island, Ponder. Ponder, Shark Typhoon. I'm going to shuffle this. I don't actually want any of these cards. I kind of just want lands and removal at this point. Shuffled into a Plow. That's good. A Swamp. A Grief. All right, F6 from here. I imagine they'll take Plow and Staff. And if they don't have the Reanimate, they'll just take Staff. Looks like they do have Reanimate. Or just a 1-drop to play. But I have that covered too. Dark Ritual. What are we doing with all this? Do we have an Entomb Reanimate, actual Reanimator package? Am I going to have to beat an Archon of Cruelty? Because I can't do that. A Bowmasters. And Reanimate. Oh my goodness. Pretty good start. Took my Prismatic Ending. Drew Ponder. I could cycle Timeless Dragon to make sure Staff of the Storyteller does something, or I could put a blocker into play now, and I think I'm going to go for blocker. If they have Wasteland, I might not actually play any more cards this game, but I think taking this necessary risk to set up will give me more chances to win than just cycling Timeless Dragon this turn. Yuck. Alright, now cycling Timeless Dragon is a huge spew. I'll trade with anything I can trade with, basically. Okay, I could Ponder, looking for answers. I think I have to do that. Grafdigger's Cage, Ponder, Island. None of these cards are good. I'll shuffle this. Basic Island, just what I wanted. I'll probably let them attack and then try to draw a card in the end step. Yeah, I could have beaten a Grief Scam or a Bowmaster here, but both of them is just a little too much. Got a second Bowmaster. Want to just jam the knife in? Dress down. Not really helpful. I'm basically on Supreme Verdict or Bust at this point. They've done so much here. Please don't have Opposition Agent. Basic Plains and Splat. Cool. All right, I'm at 4. They have 2 cards in hand. Oh, come on, you maniac. That was really good, actually. They recognized that it doesn't change the clock to snipe this end-step Storyteller activation, and now I'm at 1 instead of just completely stable. So they actually played great here. I spiked a 1-outer, but the way they played made it so it didn't matter. And that's how Magic is meant to be played. Sheesh. Tarak as well. Okay. Yeah, just proving that a good turn 1 is all it takes to win a game of Legacy. That's the scam life. GG. I wasted my 1 time. Oh no.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 2. I've got a bunch of basic lands, a Force of Will, some interaction. I'm in. Wasteland. Okay, we're playing against Scam again. Oh, what deck has Lotus Petal and Wasteland in it? I'm a little confused by this. I'm not going to lie. Is this like a different version of Scam that accelerates with Lotus Petals? Huh. These cards are usually not seen side by side. Oh, wait, nope. That doesn't answer any questions. Is this like Merfolk with Lotus Petals? Or is this Cephalic Breakfast with Wasteland? I genuinely have no idea what's going on right now. Okay. That Prismatic Ending was a great find. That means I can remove this Aether Vial that I couldn't afford to Force of Will at the time. And the main deck Dress Down threatens to mop up this Urza Saga. Yeah, what is this? Doorkeeper Thrall. Oh, it's a Dreadnought deck. That makes perfect sense. Sure. Okay. I think I want to Force of Will this Doorkeeper Thrall. And I think I pitched Dress Down because that card is actively bad for me to cast. Yeah, with the way that they've tapped, they're not going to be able to make Saga constructs. Okay, it's Dreadnought with Lotus Petals in it. Interesting. Yeah, that's weird too. Just putting it out there. Also not normal, but legal. Okay, I'm going to go for a Raven's Warning. Winning the fight over that Doorkeeper Thrall makes me pretty confident that I can beat one Dreadnought with the Swords to Plowshares and all the white removal in my deck. If they can even set up the Dreadnought at all. It's a very weird start from them. Their build is confusing. I'm not saying it's bad, I just haven't seen it, and I'm wrapping my head around new information as it appears. They could flash in another Doorkeeper Thrall right now, and then tutor a Dreadnought. That doesn't seem to be what's happening. Didn't make a construct, floated a mana, got Aether Vial. Doorkeeper Thrall can't be in a Cephalid Breakfast deck, because then Thassa's Oracle doesn't work. Oswald Fiddlebender. Okay. Some kind, sort of Dreadnought Hammer strategy. Genuinely have no idea. Okay. I am going to get my first warning from a Raven of the league. I'd like to see your hand and draw a card, please. Caw. Their hand is Esper, Sentinel, Phyrexian, Dreadnought, Swords of Plowshares. So this is probably like a mono-white Dreadnought, maybe Hammer, maybe not Hammer strategy of some variety. Second artifact, search for an artifact with a mana value 1+. This is Birthing Pod for artifacts. I could just plow this. I could stick another Raven's Warning and keep the warnings going. What could they search for? Like Torpor Orb? They could vial in Esper Sentinel. They can't actually search for anything because they don't have white mana. This is just a 2/2 at the moment. I'm going to cycle Lorien Revealed. I do have another basic I can get. I don't think I really need to play on basics because they can't afford to waste me. But I'm going to keep these Raven's Warning. The Esper Sentinel's live now. So is Dreadnought, but it currently doesn't do anything. Here we go. Oswald only activates as a sorcery. It's probably just going to bash Grizzly Bear Beats here. That's fine. Okay, weird stuff going on. Now I can decide what order I want to... Or, nope. Doesn't matter what order this is in. Because I draw the card now regardless. I could just get Moat. I don't know if they could beat a Moat. That's really funny. I can't cast a Moat. I could get Temporal Mastery, but I'm not in a position to set it up because unless I don't attack, then I can't Miracle. Oh, that's annoying. The second's Raven's Warning. Maybe I should have waited a turn on that. I could get Replenish and fire both warnings back into play next turn, plus Shark Typhoon. That's the way. Okay, here we go. Yes. I would like Replenish on top of my deck. And the other thing happens, I only need to deal damage with one of these to get the draw. So I'll leave one back to block. And leave up Shark Typhoon. Yeah, I think that's how I want to do this. Okay, Torpor Orb revealed from their deck. Or from their hand. When I saw it that turn, that's the new card. Oh, Oswald. You poor little beast. I'll eat that for free. 2/2. Not a spell. I'd love to draw a land so I don't feed the Esper Sentinel, but it's also not a big deal at all if I do. I do have to force this Torpor Orb if they play it, though. Cool. Now I can put Temporal Mastery on top of my deck and set up a big multi-turn. Oh, we're doing the thing. This is the dream. Temporal Mastery on top of my deck. Drew the land. 1, 2, 3, 4. Replenish. I would like to pay the 1. And I get back Shark Typhoon and 2 Raven's Warnings here. Get 2 more birds, gain 2 more life. 4 more life. And this Force of Will makes a 5/5 if I cast it. And my Temporal Mastery makes a 7/7 when I cast it. Oh, this is the dream. Yeah, we're doing it. It just took a non-functional hand out of mono white to deliver, but we have done it. Mother of Runes in this deck, that makes sense. I can still force Torpor Orb if they cast it. They get to draw a card, but that's fine. Alright, opponent, you ready to see the combo? Because here it comes. This card, I put it there on purpose, remember that? What a dream. I would like to stop Esper Sentinel from drawing a card. I get a 7/7. I get an extra turn. I get to attack, look at their hand, and draw a card. Oh, I draw 2 cards. They do stack if you have 2 of these. Let's see that hand. Twice. And I've gotten through Esper Sentinel already this turn, which means my Ponder is untaxed. This Plow is untaxed, and I have a bonus turn coming. Ponder. Oh, they've had enough. Okay, Hushbringer, Doorkeeper Thrall, Torpor Orb. This is some sort of mono-white Dreadnought taxes strategy. Oh, that was awesome. If we do nothing else this entire league, we did that. I'm not convinced I have anything in the sideboard specifically for this matchup. Like Meltdown probably is the card that is most useful here. Grafdigger's Cage can stop Dreadnought from coming out of Urza's Saga. Blood Moon wipes out Urza's Saga as a plan. Alright, maybe I do want my red cards. I don't think I want Grafdigger's Cage. My deck's full of white removal. I'm not that worried about Phyrexian Dreadnought just as a game piece. And I could bring the Terminus into the deck, but if I Raven's Warning, I think Raven's Warning setting up Terminus is too high power to dilute the tutor package. Like if I'm under a predictable amount of pressure, I could actually just set up a stabilization line that way. A Force of Will seems really good. Narset seems really bad. Currency Converter is fine. All of my white removal is great. Dress Down is probably awful. Because if I dress down to turn off Doorkeeper Thrall, then the Dreadnought also loses all its abilities. Unless they're on an actual Saga package, or a Saga plan, Dress Down does very little. And I just brought in Meltdown and Blood Moon that can address Saga. And I could Raven's Warning for the Dress Down if we find myself in that position. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna run it like this. The Moat is tempting to bring in. But I recently played a league with a bunch of moats in a blue-eye control deck, and it did not hold up, unfortunately. All right, I'll keep this. Otawara pretty good against Phyrexian Dreadnought. This Esper Sentinel is actually going to draw so many cards that I am going to interact with it. It's going to be worth way more than 2 cards as this game goes on. I have to play Otawara as my land because they have shown me they're a Wasteland deck, and I need white to turn on the rest of my hand. I can't just run Tundra out there. If they Wasteland me here, I'm actually going to be a little sticky for a while. All right, they did Wasteland me here, but it was on slow enough terms that I could slide a basic Plains into my hand. And I think taking the turn off to get this set up is worth more than just removing Thalia. The Ending and the Plow both remove Thalia. That is an actual Saga, but if they... Okay, rest in peace, sure. Yeah, that did remove my Dragon, and it turns off the Replenish, which is in my sideboard. Warning. Okay, I'm going to Prismatic Ending Thalia. And if you haven't seen that interaction before, Thalia just makes your spell cost more. Prismatic Ending doesn't care what its value of X is, just cares about how many colors you've spent to cast it. Okay, and they are in a true Saga plan. Kind of wish I had Dress Down in my deck to draw for. Probably should have been able to predict this better. The Raven. Or I could Staff. Yeah, I think Staff is better, because then Raven can charge Staff. This is a redraw now or a Plow, whichever thing I think is more important. But their current mana offerings, artifacts and creatures entering the battlefield. This is an artifact. Okay. Well, good thing I left the Plow up. They just tapped out of a Saga token to play this Doorkeeper Thrall, which got removed. Now Dreadnought's off as well. That was a pretty good exchange. Yeah, that was about as good as that could have gone for me. If there's a Pithing Needle in their deck, they can turn off Staff, which is annoying, but not that devastating. Construct ticks up. Mox Opal, that is on. Third Saga. Okay, I'm going to get to draw cards here. I'm going to draw for Staff. Flooring Revealed. Plateau. Revealing red mana, unfortunately. Now they know that that's a thing I can do. And might as well attack. Not sure how many blockers I'm going to need here. They can make a construct without tapping Saga, which means Ancient Tomb or Fast Mana both play well here. I'm going to draw a card before they could get a Pithing Needle, if that's the thing they have. They could get the Lava Spur Boots and give this construct haste. Suddenly Aether Vial. Okay, 2 Aether Vials. Alright, if your opponent has to have Aether Vial, turn 6 is a fine time to deploy that. I am going to absorb this damage here. I don't know if they're going to have a Shadow Spear or removal or what, or when they're going to have it, so just soaking that up. Feels fine. Draw a card with Staff. Oh, the Moon. That does kill this Saga and puts them down to Mox Opal for mana. It's not exactly great for me, though. If I fetch Plains and then Blood Moon, yeah, I'm going to do it. Bang. I still have to answer these jerks that are in play. Lorien Revealed can get another basic island. Yeah, I wish this moon was one turn sooner, but Meltdown's in my deck somewhere. I can start warning the Raven, or the Raven can start warning me. Who's talking to who? Okay. This puts me to 16. They attack for 12. I suddenly have to win next turn. But I can cast Raven's Warning, gain 2 life, and block, which leaves me exactly not alive. Lorien Revealed, get a basic. Come on, Meltdown. Currency Converter. Does that do anything? Not really. Warning puts me to 6. Charges the staves. I think I'm going to be just 1 life point short here. Yep. Okay. They did it. The third Urza Saga, too much. I definitely need Dress Down back in the deck, though. It should never have even been out. They're not going to forget to attack. I'll just go to the sideboard. Dress Down's back in. Yeah, I should have recognized that this deck's going to be so good at stopping their plan A that they're going to need to settle back on Urza Saga some amount of the time, and then Dress Down, yeah. Loosey-goosey, cost me a game. Time to rally. I think I'm going to shave one of these Force of Wills for Dress Down. Just interact more cleanly. His hand is soft to Wasteland, but that's fine. It's good if I get a turn without getting wasted, and if they just waste me, I'll do something else. Caracas bounces Thalia, which is a card that we know is in the deck now. They mull to 6. I'm going to lead on Volcanic Island. I care the least if that gets wastelanded. Either Vile, okay. These are both my red sources. I have to sandbag one of them, but I'm glad the plateau is just accounted for. Staff of the Storyteller. Charge it up. This Vile is a little concerning, though. Knowing that Mother of Runes is in the deck makes it a little weird. Saga. They can make a Dreadnought right now. Hitting Needle. Okay. There is a Needle in the deck. It's going to turn off my staff before I can draw any cards. At least that wasn't a Doorkeeper Thrall. I'm not ready for a Dreadnought right now. Swords of Plowshares. Now I'm ready for Dreadnought. I can cycle Shark Typhoon, or I could cast Brainstorm now. I'm going to Brainstorm now. That did not really improve anything. Let's play this island, and I'm not going to attack. I don't know if they can create surprise end-step burst damage, but holding that back seems fine. If they tap mana here for anything other than making a construct, that's a good deal. Mother. Okay, Mother's in. I have to target Mother of Runes with Swords of Plowshares, or else I'm never targeting anything. Okay, what's happening here? Thalia, okay. That doesn't change anything there. Caracas can bounce Thalia. I think I just missed a point last turn. Like, what am I even thinking about holding that back? What am I worried about? Basically nothing. Okay, if they have a Hushbringer or a Thrall, they can Violet in and then tutor a Dreadnought, and I actually do have to figure that out. Okay, they floated mana and activated Vial. Yep, there's Thrall. They're going to have a Dreadnought here. Another Saga. Could represent more Dreadnoughts. Oswald. That's a legend, that's fine. Didn't even attack. I love that for me. I'm still just going to make a 1/1 Shark, because clearing these legends with Caracas is going to be more important than having a 2/2 Shark. Need to find some white removal somewhere. Bounce Thalia. That's a white removal spell. We take those. Prismatic Ending, target Phyrexian Dreadnought. Get you out of here. Caracas, bounce Oswald. And I'm chilling. Because having a 2/2 Shark does make it bigger than Doorkeeper Thrall. And I can push damage. I know they have 2 legends in their hand, both of which can be Viled in. Another Saga, just keeping them coming. Answering the Thrall is going to have to be an objective eventually, because each of these Sagas represents more Dreadnoughts. Thalia's back. I think I have to just cycle here and try to hit another answer to something. Drew a land, drew a Shark Typhoon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can't cast it because of Thalia. Not that I would anyway. Real fans know. Okay, I'm just passing here. They can make a construct. It's free to do. Starting to get some real action over there. The construct, the Thrall, impending Dreadnought, Violin Oswald. I can make a 4/4 Shark. I don't think they're going to have 2 Pithing Needles, but I will fetch for a basic Plains. before they do. Looking back at this entire game, I think if I Force of Will the... Oh, do they only have one Dreadnought in their deck? If I Force of Will the Mother of Runes, I think my game is better. I'm going to make a 4/4 Shark and double block this. I guess it depends on what I draw. I might just jump it if I draw something that helps. That doesn't help. Okay, block, block. Hope they can't flash in an artifact. Okay, that's handled. And I could start looping sharks, or I could actually draw cards. I have a land drop. All right. I am gonna loop a Shark Typhoon here. That does still draw a card on the turn cycle, because the Shark Typhoon then draws a card. This is like drawing a card while making a 1/1 and charging staff in case of future need for a charge staff. Holding up Counterspell, I can bounce Doorkeeper Thrall, or not, I could bounce Thalia or Oswald. I'll put in Oswald. I don't want that card to be active. Don't really know what it does, but no thanks. Can get a construct out of this. The second Piddly Needle would be really bad because they can name Shark Typhoon. All right. They're finally willing to add a Dreadnought to the board. Thalia has a good attack here if they want to take it. Construct plus Thalia means I have to triple block Thalia if I want that gone. And then the 6 gets through. Yeah, they figured it out. I'm going to Shark Typhoon first. See the card to make decisions with. Swords of Plowshares. Okay. I'm just going to chump the construct and take 2 from Thalia. And Meltdown's insane here. Dress Down's insane here. Supreme Verdict. Prismatic Vista, not insane here. And more mana isn't actually that bad. That lets me make bigger sharks every turn once we get there. Don't feel good about the game right now, though. I'm not dead, but it's not great either. Wasteland. Uh-oh, that's going to take out my haul. Esper Sentinel. I'll respond to that by bouncing Thalia and then plowing Dreadnought. Plow Dreadnought. They just vial Thalia right back in, but she's gone for at least now. And they're not doing a lot of casting of spells here. I'm actually going to fetch right now. Do I want basic Plains or basic Island? I think it's actually Plains. And I can counter Esper Sentinel. And I can still activate Hall if I want to. Okay, Vial resolves. Constructs remain an issue. Wasting my Hall. Do I want a Shark Typhoon? I can make a 1/2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can make a 5/5 next turn and draw a card. 5/5's pretty big. I will take a Shark Typhoon back here. I do have to do some chumping this turn. I'll block one of them. And we know what I'm drawing. Everybody knows what I'm drawing. And I'm just going to pass here. There are 32, 3 cards in hand. One of them's Oswald. I'm just trying to cling to life until I find a sweeper. It's just the classic white creature deck versus blue control deck in Legacy matchup. How many white cards do I draw in a game? And do they outmuscle my opponent's white cards? Is the whole thing. Everything's attacking. Nope, they realized that everything attacking would be disastrous. 5/5. Come on, good card. Sweeper, sweeper. Scalding Tarn's not it. Okay, block this now. Do I want to chump this? I guess. Yeah, I'll block here, just in case they have a trick. If they could violin an artifact creature or flash an artifact creature, that would be such a beating. So, alright. Come on, deck. Alright, Prismatic Ending. Sweet relief. Prismatic End this Pithing Needle. Done. Get rid of that now. Now I got 6 cards in the bank I could start unlocking. I didn't bounce Thalia first because I want to bounce Thalia on their turn where she can't attack me. Ponder. Okay, I will cast this now. How do I best cast this that doesn't tap me out of the most options? I have a Scalding Tarn. I can just use that. Okay, I'm gonna get a basic. Why would I get a basic? I'm gonna get Tundra. And then cast Ponder. With enough mana left to cast a Meltdown if I draw it. Blood Moon is not actually a card I want. I'll take the Brainstorm, and then there's a fetch land under it. I can bounce Thalia. They do get to violin Oswald. Oh, Doorkeeper Thrall. Sure. And I guess that's more reliable damage than Oswald is. But violating an Oswald there still deals 2 to me, because I only have 1 Caracas. I'm going to end up at 5 life here. And now the Vial is untapped on their turn. Casting Rest in Peace doesn't actually matter. And activating Vial, I can bounce Thalia on my turn, and now the Vial is off balance. But I do need this Brainstorm plus Staff of the Storyteller to deliver the goods. Okay, bounce Thalia. Do I want to draw Blood Moon and then Brainstorm everything away, or shuffle first, then Brainstorm, see all fresh cards? I think I want to take the draw, then Brainstorm. Prismatic Ending, Raven's Warning. We're doing it, kids. Blood Moon doesn't matter. Do I need Flooded Strand? Raven's Warning, Prismatic Ending, artifacts, and creatures. Okay, so I still gain 2 life and get to do Saga stuff. Doorkeeper's Roll doesn't turn off Sagas. Okay, I'm going to put back Blood Moon and Flooded Strand. And then I've got a Raven's Warning. I'm at 7. And I've got a Prismatic Ending for Construct Token. And we are stable. Relatively. I mean, still losing life, but the biggest things are gone, and I got a draw engine online. I could cast Lorien Revealed next turn. 2 other cards in their hand are answered by Caracas. Mox Opal's off. I'm unlikely to draw a card off Raven's Warning unless they get really greedy with attacks. They should attack with 1 Thrall here, I think. If they attack with both and give me a draw on this board that I'm not winning on. They Violent Thalia pre-combat. Makes sense, turns off Swords of Plowshares. They did fire with both. I wonder if they have Dreadnought in hand. Nope, just passing. Okay. This lets me do bird stuff. Caw. Okay, I'm going to attack first, see if the bird triggers. If the bird gets through and the thing triggers, I'm going to shuffle in response. Because I don't want to draw a Blood Moon. Okay. Did happen. Fetch in response. Basic Island. Timeless Dragon, that's really big. Okay, draw with Staff. Rest down, love that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cast a 5/5 flyer. I can Caracas Thalia. I'm at 3 on the board right now with Force in my hand. Wasteland. Taking out Caracas is actually huge here. I think I have enough room to work through this, but that was a big Caracas. This unlocks Oswald, which unlocks a big part of their deck. And they're going to Vial Thalia back in here. I don't care to dress down that. That just doesn't do anything except draw me a card. Have we achieved stability? Looks like it. Okay, Raven's Warning. Trigger. Let's go. I would like to do this. Thanks for asking. Do I want Terminus to clean this up, or do I think I'm ahead? I'm going to take Terminus, I think. Yeah, I'll put that on top. Then I can cast Ponder, and I could stack the Terminus somewhere else. Another Raven's Warning. 1, 2, 3. Activate 1, 2. Okay, I'm going to put the Terminus 2 cards back. Draw the Raven's Warning now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Caw! And bash for 5 into their 31 life. I think I gotta... I'm not winning that race. Clock is now my concern more than anything else. Mycosynth Gardens. Alright, yeah, lots of routes to Dreadnought in this deck. I think I have 1 Shark Typhoon left. End step, I'll draw. The Terminus is on top of my deck now. Do I even want to fire it? Probably not. Okay, I have that. And Timeless Dragon is a flying creature. Let's see if they want to lose a Doorkeeper Thrall more than they want to stop me from drawing a card. In there. Or 26. Brainstorm in my hand. Activate Staff. Flooded Strand. That works well with the Brainstorm, which can put Terminus on top of the deck. And I drew another Staff of the Storyteller. Okay, Ottawara, Terminus on top. And then Staff, 1, 2, 3. Oh, this doesn't make a thing. Shit. All right, well, it's in play. Whoops. Okay, they could get Oswald here, but I did set up Terminus. I kind of hope they do tutor a Dreadnought this turn. I'm ready. Vial just went up to 3. We haven't seen that yet. They stack the Mox Opal, but they can get a 1. It is the Dreadnought. I hope they Gardens and copy it a bunch of times, too. That would be so nice. And I'm just chump blocking with anything here, because my plan is to sweep. They didn't do it. Terminus, yes. They sweep it all up. Adios, everything. And now I gotta win in 5 minutes. That's enough time to do this, but I'm just saying. Not necessarily free or easy. Copied Aether Vial, interesting. I'm going to fetch for my last land, and I do get a Raven activation. Temporal Mastery doesn't matter. Narset digs for stuff. I'm just thinking really hard here in a situation where I probably shouldn't be thinking this hard. I could just stick Moat. All right, I'm just going to take Narset and cast Lorien Revealed. There's a Timeless Dragon, cool. Staff of the Storyteller, draw. Meltdown, cool. Probably just go to cleanup here and discard Staff of the Storyteller. Maybe I shouldn't have activated that last staff. I end up going to cleanup, and yeah, there were a lot of problems with that. Yeah, I end up going to cleanup. I don't even get the card, and then that's one less card in my deck where decking is actually a concern at this time. There's a Wasteland. They could cut me off half my red sources. Another Rest in Peace, sure. I guess I did replenish them really hard in game 1. Makes sense they'd have this Graveyard Hayden. They don't know that it's just a little side plan. Took me off Plateau. Good call. Draw for turn. Meltdown for 1. I'm sending it now. Get rid of these Aether Vials. They just turned a land into a Vial. It's a great time to punish that. Vialing in a 3. Mangara of Corondor. Look at this legend. All right. That's actually a problem, and I have to answer it. I hate how good that is. Narset. Dig for a plow. Supreme Verdict works next turn. All right. I'm going to stop digging and just pass. Block and cards in deck, both concerns at this moment. Attack for 1 with Mangara. It's so sick that that's in the deck. Attacking Narset with it. Sure. The Shark Typhoon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is it time? Not yet, but it might come up this game. I'm not going to draw cards or play anything. I'm just clicking through my turn here. Torpor Orb, don't care. You know what, folks? I don't normally do this, but we found a spot where it's reasonable. 3 minutes on the clock, mono white opponent, 2 Force of Wills in hand. Let's game. I'll Force of Will literally anything here to get a 5/5. Bang. Done. Okay, the corner, I think, is officially turned, and I'm no longer worried about winning or losing this game. I think we're going to win, and we're going to do it easily in 3 minutes. There's no fetchables left. I'm not going to play this Vista. Force of Will, literally anything. That second one might have been kind of aggressive, but I'm just trying to jam here. I don't think they're going to be able to beat this. Attack. It's entirely possible I have, missed lethal. Maybe there was like a line where Wandering Emperor pumped something last turn or whatever. I don't care. I'm looking at the clock right now. Opponent asked if I'm recording this game. I'm always recording. Think I'd do this on my own time? We got the GGs. Oh yeah, what a good run of this. Just took the full clock. We did the entire Raven warning thing. Did it hard in game 1, and it was completely relevant in game 3 as well. Good stuff. Let's go. Welcome to TopDeck.gg, your community's home for everything competitive Magic has to offer. If you're hosting an event, playing for a huge prize, or advertising your events to thousands of players, we've got you covered. Using intuitive pairing software, playing Magic is a breeze. Players just have to sign up online, then scan the QR code in-store. Give competitors the gift of perfect information as their bracket updates in real time. The self-reporting software saves you time and leaves paper match slips in the past. Leave the heavy lifting to TopDeck.gg so your community can relax and focus on playing Magic. I'm on the draw in round 3. Island, Ponder, Keep. Urza Saga, another Saga gamer. Turn 1 Saga. Are we going to see an Ancient Tomb, or are we going to see a Painter Servant? Island, Ponder. Probably could have gotten Tundra pretty safely there. The Ponder was 2 islands and a Shark Typhoon. I'll take land number 3 and Shark Typhoon and then shuffle away land number 4. City of Traders and choosing to cast a spell instead of Saga Gaming. Grim Monolith, that's why. Okay. Monolith resolves. The One Ring does not. Of course, Raven's Warning could get me all sorts of powerful things here. I'm drawing another Shark Typhoon. Yeah, I actually somehow think it's correct to keep the Raven's Warning here. This is a matchup where powerful sideboard cards are your best friend, and being able to reach for them like a meltdown might completely flip this game for me. It's a long way off, but I mean, at least there's a chance. I really hope they make a construct here, actually. I'm ready with the plow. And if they don't make a construct, it means they're going to send another tons of mana worth of junk at me. Okay, cool. Brainstorm, put back Island, and probably Lorien revealed. And I'm going to fetch a Tundra and chill for a second. They'll probably tutor a key to start untapping their Grim Monolith. The fact that this is City of Traders is a big sign of... It's a big bottleneck. If they want to play another land here, it's going to kill their old land. They can't just develop for freezies. Okay. They got Mox Opal. Show and Tell. This is a card you have too? Weird. Well, I can let it resolve and put in Shark Typhoon and then just see what happens. Alright, let's go. It's either that or Brainstorm for Force of Will. Alright, you have Coveted Jewel. They better win here, which, you know, isn't really hard to do with Jewel, but I am going to take it if they don't. Okay, they have another Jewel. Show and Tell, sick tech in this deck, though. Transmute, this gets another Jewel or something better. Yeah, the weird thing here is if I had just plowed the construct before Saga tutored for Mox Opal, they wouldn't have had Metalcraft. Copy Artifact. Yeah, their deck is just going to arrive here. 5 in the pool. Lotus Petal makes 6. 4 Jewels in play. Manifold Key. This is worth a bunch of mana. Back up to 4. Another Jewel. Here we go. The deck is flowing. And if they have Show and Tells, Transmute Artifacts, and Copy Artifacts, this is some sort of super dedicated version of this. Paradox Engine. Yep. That should win the game. Yeah, they force checked me and they got it right. The thing I could have done here is Brainstorm for another force. All right, Hardcast, yeah, we're cool. Yeah, sweet. All right. Well, there's that. Okay, Damping Sphere is coming in. Lavinia is coming in. Pyroblast and Red Blast are coming in. They show me a bunch of blue cards. None of this other stuff looks that important. Meltdown is good. Blood Moon, it's their sagas, but I don't know that I care about those specifically. I think Supreme Verdict, some of the Swords to Plowshares, probably just all of the Swords to Plowshares are coming out. I'm bringing in a bunch of ways to sweep up Saga constructs, and those are really the creatures that they have. Yeah, this looks fine. Yeah, what a 1000 IQ play to plow the construct so Mox Opal's not on. I just didn't see that. I don't know if I could have predicted that. I don't even know if it's reasonable to predict that. I'm going to mulligan this hand with all white cards. I'm going to keep this hand that shields down on turn 1, but it has like my best card on turn 2. And I can ponder into force, so I'm not even necessarily shields down here. Definitely don't have to play around Wasteland. Ponder, show me that Force of Will. We did it. Force of Will and Meltdown. Okay. I'll keep these cards. Okay, so they have to beat a Force of Will this turn. Ancient Tomb. Defense Grid. I think I'm okay with that. Because Damping Sphere makes Ancient Tomb tap for 1. And they're not going to be able to cast more cards after this. And now they can't force me, which I also enjoy. Bang. Okay. They take 2 damage every time they tap this still, but they only go 1 mana out of it. That Saga is 2 mana. Alright, their next spell costs 1 more. Their next spell costs 2 more. They did build out pretty well into this, but this is the Meltdown squeeze. Now I just turn around and melt them. Though, I do also have to consider... All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, maybe I just ponder here, actually. Yeah, I kind of have to respect a land drop turning on Urza Saga. This is not good. I'm going to shuffle it. I actually just want to land. Ended up with Prismatic Ending anyway. Okay. Not ideal. Okay, they missed their land drop, which means that I can melt down here, and they don't... They can tutor at the end of the saga, but they don't actually get anything. All right, Meltdown for 0. Even if they make the construct in response, or I guess they could just float mana, and they get 1 construct here. Why did I think this would work? What am I doing? Okay, yeah, they get 1 construct out of this, and then they get to tutor. Yeah, why did I think that would work? That was weird. Brain just turned off for a second. Still pretty good, though. They have 1 mana to play with here, and I can beat this construct. Simulacrum Synthesizer, they get to scry 2, and then stuff gets bigger, or they get more constructs later. If they could get 3 drops into play, which is going to be really hard on 1 mana. Bottom both of those. I would love a land, for real, for real. Not a land. Okay, Prismatic Ending, the thing that's attacking me. Land unlocks Force of Will, land plays Raven's Warning. There's a lot going on here that my next mana fixes. Okay, they just passed, though. Come on, deck. Alright, that's a land someday. I'll take a land someday. I'll take Plateau, that's fine. I haven't cast a spell yet, but there's nothing to exile. They tapped their Ancient Tomb, then untapped it. Okay, Caracas gives me 4 mana now, and they've shown me Show and Tell and Emrakul in their deck. I could get Raven's Warning down and just hope I survive this turn. I think this is pretty safe. I'm just gonna Raven's Warning. This is an engine, it draws cards, it lets me know what's going on, it starts applying pressure, and I'm not gonna slow roll the Caracas and reveal it off of a Show and Tell, I'm just gonna hit my land drop here, but this does insulate me from Show and Tell Emrakul. Island's a little scary. Phyrexian Metamorph. Can't do anything about it. This could copy the Synthesizer, and they get a Construct and they scry 2. Yeah, you get a 4/4 and a scry 2. This Damping Sphere has been a hero. They just had to lose 2 life to make 1 mana, and then also pay the Phyrexian mana on that clone. Topped. Okay. Gotta look at this hand. Another Raven's Warning. Attack for 1. I can Prismatic Ending the Construct and then hold up Force of Will on their turn. Transmute, Force, Transmute, 1 ring. So their defense grid has actually locked out Force of Will this game. Prismatic End this Construct. And I'm holding up Force. Saga. This doesn't cast any spells. Cycle Shark Typhoon's going to happen. It doubles my clock and digs. Bang. Shark's in. Or in revealed. Okay, do I want the Raven to warn? Blood Moon actually saves them damage. Surgical Extraction. Does that do anything? Extracting their Lotus Petals doesn't seem actually good at all. I think I actually am just going to say no. Oh wait, the Temporal Mastery. That's the one. That's always the one. That's the fail case when there's no other good cards to grab. Right. I was being too clever. Yeah, please. Give me that Temporal Mastery. Attack for 2. And I can't cycle Lorien Revealed for a land drop because that shuffles away my Temporal Mastery. I could have done it in response to the trigger if I had thought about it. Okay, they have exactly 4 mana to cast the 1 ring, which they did not do. They could also force my Temporal Mastery, but I could force back. Temporal Mastery. They didn't force it. Not worried about that, it seems. Island Cycle. Get Tundra. Play Tundra. Farm my 2 sweet free damage here. And I've already played a spell, so I can't staff with the Storyteller. Can't go to my bonus turn. Now I have 2 forces up. Or no, it's still only 1 because of the Damping Sphere. That's so funny. Alright, attack. Okay, they're at 3. They can make a bunch of constructs here. If there's a Shadow Spear in their deck, they might actually be able to start turning this around. 4/4. 5/5. Nope. Change their mind. Just tutor. Okay. Just tutor. Okay. I just force this. And they can't force back because that would cost 3 life. They have to tap Ancient Tomb because force costs 1. And then I have exactly 3 flying damage to get back at them. When I cycle Shark Typhoon. Yeah! We did it. That was sick. Okay, Ancient Tomb. Pretty bad card when there's a Damping Sphere in play. Lessons learned. I think my plan's still my plan here, and I'm just going to hit submit. I could see a world where Moat is good against them if they go super wide on constructs and I need an eject button. But I have a bunch of sweepers in already. It would have to be a pretty specific situation where Moat is the correct answer. On the draw for the Decider, and I've got Force and Pyroblast, which are both good cards here. Narset also just the stones versus their deck, if I could get her down. They've got Urza Saga Pass to start the game. Ponder, okay. Do I tap out of Pyroblast to cast Ponder? Yes. I think finding land number 3 is more important than basically anything else I could do right now. I did find land number 3 and land number 4. I will keep all of them. Because we're going to have a little exchange. There's going to be a Force, there's going to be a Pyroblast, and I would like Narset to stick at the back end of that. Grim Monolith happens. Okay, the Grim Monolith means they're not Saga Gaming, which I appreciate. I guess they could, it's just going to cost them a Grim Monolith that they could have just not cast instead if that was the plan. My top card is Shark Typhoon, which is not important to me at this time. Oh wow, they are Saga Gaming. Okay. That's not necessarily how I would use a Grim Monolith, but pressure's on. Here we go. I guess they could tutor Key and end up mana positive. They just had to do some weird stuff to make it get there. All right, yeah, that's fair. I accept. Not that they need my acceptance. They could just play their cards. Okay, the Key Monolith. All right. We figured it out. I have to take 5 here, because if I brainstorm looking for Plow, I'm tapped out of red if they just suddenly combo. Okay, I'm going to brainstorm in the end step. This is not very good, actually. Okay, so put back Basic Plains Otawara, and I have to redraw the Otawara. I fetch down to 13, and then I can chump block one of these. I take 5, go to 8. Yeah, this is actually a really tough start. I was so ready for a combo, and I might just die to a pair of 5/5s. If they become 6/6s, 7/7s, I'm in a lot of trouble. Okay, Otawara as a creature. Or not as a creature, as a land. Otawara is rarely a creature. Some weird stuff has to happen for us to end up there. They can make one of these unblockable, which doesn't affect Shark Typhoon's ability to chump them. Block. But I did just tap out of a bunch of mana if they now pivot onto a jam combo line. Synthesizer. I'm okay with them scrying too. I'm not okay with them resolving a jewel this turn. I just have to let them do this. Okay. Come on, Meltdown, dress down. Yeah! Just call it out. It's there. Okay, that was the second best draw in my deck after Meltdown. And we are suddenly playing the game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I'm just going to pass. Maybe I was supposed to upkeep that. Beginning of combat. Dress down. I have Force and Pyroblast to fight through this turn. Cool. All right, pressure's off. Now they got to win another way. Remember when I boarded this card out in that one match against Urza Saga? That was crazy. I can also Pyroblast the permanent Simulacrum Synthesizer if I feel like that's necessary to do. Okay, I'm going to take Pyroblast on a spell that I know I can Pyroblast, because the Force of Will can get anything. Cool. All right. And just go to my turn. Do I want the Raven to warn me? Do I want to start applying pressure? Narset seems really good here. Yeah, I think I'm going to fetch a basic island and then cast Narset, leaving up red. There is another red blast in my deck. Narset gets Counterspell. Let's go. We love a Counterspell in this house. Narset cuts off a lot of their engines. They do have the creature engine online, though. She digs really hard for Meltdown also. Opponent's got an island. And no plays. Let's go. Plains, activate Narset. Meltdown. I could kill all this stuff right now. Yeah, I'll take Meltdown. 1, 2, 3, 4. Meltdown for 3. Okay, all their stuff is dead. They still have a lot of mana. But Jewel doesn't work, PO doesn't work. There's nothing to copy with Phyrexian Metamorph. Okay, hark comes the Raven. Time for the crushing inevitability of the Raven's warning. Hashtag bird deck. And I actually get to see what the Narset's doing, which is really exciting. There's a lot of games like this one, you just end up winning and you never know how much the Narset actually did. Let me just see 3 card draw spells in your hand. Force Emrakul, City of Traders. Okay, it's so much more embarrassing than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, yeah. Emrakul's cost a lot. 15 is so much. Staff of the Storyteller. They said they were 1 mana off of Emrakul the turn before I Meltdown. Yeah, good call. Yeah, that was closer than I care to admit. Copy Artifact. They can get a Staff of the Storyteller, which doesn't draw cards because they don't have white mana. I think this is fine. Yep, there you go. You have that now. And then they scooped it. Okay, that was a scary matchup, but we had a combination of just potent sideboard cards soloing the game and actual control back and forth, and pretty good showcase all around. Let's keep rolling. The NYSE Open is a prestigious, long-running vintage tournament based out of New York City. It's returning again this summer, June 22nd, 2024 in Plainview, New York. This 15 proxy event has a $500 entry. That's a lot of money, but what are we playing for? First place gets a Black Lotus. Second through 8th place get Time Twister, Time Walk, and all 5 Moxen. At 115 players, a playset of Bizarre Baghdad is added to the prize pool. At 135, 4 Mishra's Workshops. At 155, 4 foil Gaia's Cradle. This prize pool is better than Eternal Weekend. If you think it's worth playing for, sign up for the event on melee.gg or use the link in the video description, and I will definitely see you there. I'm on the play for round number 4, and you know what it is. Keeping. I'm going to fetch a basic island and cast Ponder. This deck is proactive enough that you can Ponder on turn 1. It's not like, oh no, Hemhall, what do I need? I need lands and things to cast. It's not rocket science in a hand like this one. Because I have a bunch of answers to stuff, but I'm not winning the game in any capacity. So that's what I'm looking for with that Ponder. And I found 3 lands. I'll keep 2 of them. Ancient Tomb. That's been a popular card this league. It's a popular card in the format right now. Overall. I hope I get to Damping Sphere this opponent at some point also. Don't know what they're doing yet. This could be like Goblins where Dress Down it plays really well. Oh, it's Creative Technique. Yep, no other deck would play these cards. Mossfire Valley, just not a thing. Okay, let's see what they've revealed. Tybalt's Trickery. I could see if they whiff here, which is kind of hard to do. I think I just force targeting the either one. They both work. Okay, I'm gonna force the Trickery. Yeah, going off on turn 2. This deck used to be a turn 3 deck, and now they just have all these other cool things going on. Bad news is I am not prepared for them to send it again. Even this Force of Will doesn't do it because I don't have a blue card. My deck does not have a Wasteland in it, which is one of the best tools against this deck. Just checking. I had a build where I had 1 Wasteland in the deck and a Crucible in the Ravens package. That is not the build that I ended with. Because I always think about Crucible of Worlds. It's like card number 62 every time I build a Sharkstill deck. But without a Wasteland, it's a lot worse. And then I determined I didn't want to make room for Wasteland. And then Crucible didn't make sense. So that was just the deck building process. Tapped Hickory Woodlot. So they'd need another Violent Outburst here to go again right now. And they actually do have it. All right, here we go. Just have to hope they whiff. And what whiffing looks like is they hit another Tybalt's Trickery off of their Tybalt's Trickery. That's really the only way out of this. They hit Throes of Chaos. Okay, so this goes back down to another Violent Outburst. Okay, so Throes of Chaos and Tybalt's Trickery are the hits that are whiffs here. They just revealed their whole deck. Okay, so they did actually whiff. There's only 3 Tybalt's Trickeries in the deck, and they milled one of them off one of the Tybalts. Okay, we caught a whiff. It is unlikely, but it happens. And if I'm willing to do the legwork here, I could deduce their hand, but they're approaching 6 mana. Also, this is 68 cards revealed. I didn't clear it after the first Cascade, which was like 20-something cards, so 44 cards in the deck. And there's 12 cards in this pile, so 12, and then 14 in this one, 26, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4. So from the Maelstrom Wanderer down is their deck. Okay, cleared that out, and we've got Creative Technique, Creative Technique, Creative Technique, Creative Technique. All right, there's 4 creative techniques still in the deck. Where are the Trumpeting Carnosaurs? 1, 2... I see 2 Carnosaurs in their deck right now. And I'm not going to spend too much time doing this, but they're not just going to cast Creative Technique next turn unless they draw it. But they have a lot of time because I'm not doing anything over here. Raven's Warning is actually one of my best hits because even if it takes a couple turns to set up, it does tell me what's going on over there and wishes for the Damping Sphere eventually. Okay, I'm untapping into Hardcast Force. Timeless Dragon. Okay, Force of Will doesn't beat them anyway. So I'm just going to cast a 5/5 and hope that they can't really do a lot. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. basically any spell in their hand wins the game here, and Trumpeting Carnosaur is the only one that I can actually force of will. Yeah, this is just such a bad matchup in game 1, even accounting for the whiff. I guess I see Atali in their deck too. So Atali or Carnosaur are both forcible, but any Cascade spell is not. Okay, something's happening. Okay, they just raw dogged a creative technique. Sure. Okay, we're probably dead. I techniqued into Shark Typhoon. Heck yeah. I've cast that twice this league now. Put those on the books. All right, I'm just F6ing from here. They hit Throes of Chaos. That's a brick. So this build of the deck actually can whiff, which being able to go on turn 2 instead of turn 3, the trade-off is sometimes you don't do it. They're almost out of whiffs, though. I'm not going to count all their cards because I just don't care. But if they hit Violent Outburst, or they're out of those, if they hit Throes of Chaos, or they could hit Emrakul. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I can take a hit and maybe draw Caracas. Not dead yet. I'm going to annihilate everything except for a Tundra. Because if I keep a Tundra, that lets me draw Ponder and have 3 more, or Brainstorm and have 3 more looks at Caracas. I still don't think I can win this game. I think they could get this Emrakul back down before I could build back and win the game from 1 life. Oh, they have more spells too. Don't worry. They're not done. Is this Apex Devastator? Is it coming? Oh, yeah, it is. Let's go. 10 actual mana. They hit Itali. Okay, there's not a Terminus in my main, so I'm just going to concede before they start stealing cards from me and see more stuff. Okay. Damping Sphere is important. Hydroblast is relatively important. Surgical is important. Terminus is important. Not as important as the other stuff, but it does matter. Rest in Peace is an interesting one because it does stop them from retracing Throes of Chaos, which is part of the stability of the deck, but it does very little otherwise. I like Blood Moon. They are a red deck, but also they count on their 2 mana lands, and they do have some green spells. Lavinia very obviously comes in here. Okay, so I actually have 8 sideboard cards, and like 6 of them are actually really good, and then there's 2 that have relevant text in the matchup. Prismatic Ending is out. Swords to Plowshares probably coming out. It's a bunch of spot removal, can take a walk. Dress Down does stop Itali and Carnosaur. Moat? What about Moat? Emrakul is the top of their chain. The rest of their deck doesn't fly, though. They do play some Besajus. Okay, I'm going. I'll keep. I was about to start narrating how you're really in the market for powerful sideboard cards for this matchup because nothing else matters. As we saw that game, we stuffed them once, they whiffed once, and then we still just died easily. And yeah, I just drew all of my best sideboard cards, actually. Okie dokie. I'm going to fetch before I draw because I actually do want to thin a little bit here and start drawing spells. I normally don't fetch to thin in Legacy, but I'm going to be spending my mana on the next couple turns anyway and would like some spells. Here's just the best card in the entire format against this deck. Their deck plays Besajus, but they need a source of green that doesn't tap for 2 mana to do that. They do have that Mossfire thing, the Odyssey Filter land in the deck that does work. Nope, that taps for 2 in a weird way. All right, yeah. They need to like play a Besaju and then channel a different Besaju, which, I mean, they might do here. They've indicated the ability. Okay, Slam Blood Moon or Slam Lavinia. I think it's Blood Moon. That means if they don't have the Besaju right now, they never get it. Wow, they actually have it. Sick. The double Besaju start. Okay. They floated the mana. Oh, they're more worried about Blood Moon than Damping Sphere. Fascinating. Okay. I've already cast a spell, so I can't cast my Currency Converter. Got my ass. All right. Pass the turn. Does that mean they have a third Besaju, or does it mean that they can beat Damping Sphere? I would have thought this was the other way around, and they would have just gotten to 4 or 5 mana and sent their combo into the Blood Moon. But obviously I don't know what's in their hand. Not yet, because the Raven hasn't warned me. One day I hope to learn. Taiga, okay. Yeah, they are actually set up to play a game of lands that tap for 1. Okay, Lavinia's real good. I'm going to cast that. And I'm going to get my currency converter in. That could start applying pressure and filtering stuff. If they channel a Carnosaur, they lose their Sandstone Needle, and they're down a land. Just trying to think of sequences in their deck. I mean, I'm sure they have some sideboard cards, but their sideboard cards are limited by what messes up their Cascade trains. Another tapped land. Now I have Force Blue card. I could also just brainstorm and play my land in Hardcast Force. So I think I'll do that. Give myself a chance to spike something useful right now. I don't need this land, and I don't need Dress Down. Timeless Dragon quickly becomes multiple threats, though. Yeah, I don't really want to Dress Down when Lavinia is between my opponent and me. All right, your turn. Lavinia didn't die in my end step. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana now, and they can't cast zeros. They can cast them, but they're countered. And I get to deploy a threat in the end step, cycle Timeless Dragon, put it into the converter, find a plateau or plains. I'll get plains, because Scalding Tarn can get plateau. Make a rogue, double my clock. If I draw a blue card here, I'll Eternalize the Dragon. Okay, cool. In that case, I will Eternalize the Dragon. And I'm gonna play out my plains, because if they Creative Technique and Demonstrate, I have to pay for those spells through Damping Sphere, so having extra mana here still makes some sense. Another tap land. If they pass, I am going to activate Currency Converter. Yeah, the draw happens first, so I'll do that. Draw a card, discard a card. Shark Typhoon. I could actually put Force of Will in there. 8, 6. No, they're on a 2-turn clock anyway. I don't want them to know that I'm just willing to discard extra Force of Will here. That's how comfortable I am. If I find a blue card, that's not a blue card. All right. Never mind then. I was going to say I could force twice. I could actually still force twice if I don't play the plateau and currency convert into a blue card. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I'm a mana short because I'd have to play the plateau to do that. I am not going to play plateau. I'm just going to pass the turn. They've got to beat 2 lock pieces and lethal threats with Force of Will in my hand. And they can't do it. Okay. They can't beat my nut draw on the play. Good to know. I don't have a Pithing Needle to name Beseiju with. My Blood Moon is something I could replenish, but the Blood Moon and the Rest in Peace, if they kill those, I can replenish them, but I don't think I care about that. Yeah, the replenish still makes the most sense in the warning package and nowhere else. It's funny, because when I was building this deck, I thought about the Damping Sphere, and I was like, I really haven't seen Creative Technique that much. I was building off of a version of this deck that I played like 2 months ago on the channel against Phil, the Thraben U playoff. If you missed that, go check it out. But I was building off that list, and that was when Creative Technique was super hot, and that's just not true anymore. And here we are battling Creative Technique and Damping Sphere being MVP. No lock piece, but I do have 2 counter spells and the ability to dig. I'm going to keep. I hit my land drops. I'm unlikely to lose on turn 2. This is definitely a matchup where 1 Mystical Archive or Meticulous Archive would be really good. Revisiting the Surveil Land conversation from round 1. Maybe I should just default to putting 1 in like all decks and then make it be bad before I decide it's bad. I haven't decided anything. I'm just like talking about how it could go wrong, conceivably. All right, opponent's probably hyped that I didn't slam a Lavinia or a Damping Sphere that turn. I'm disappointed that I didn't. They can Creative Technique here. Okay. I can counter 2 of these. The shuffle happens first, so I can't cheat here. Okay, Demonstrate. Please just hit the Damping Sphere. Brainstorm. I'll cast that. None of these are very good. I'm going to put back Staff of the Storyteller, and it's probably got to be Raven's Warning. It's just too slow. Unless I'm going to pitch it to Force right now. Would I rather have Raven's Warning or Shark Typhoon? It's definitely Shark Typhoon. Okay. This is a lot of brainstorms to have. I'm going to put back a Shark Typhoon, and then I'm going to counter spell and Force of Will. Tundra. My red card is Blood Moon. I'm holding Plateau. Do I want basic Island here? Just in case I draw the Blood Moon. I think I do. All right. Maybe I can't fetch Plains there because I need to counterspell. Counter that. And force this one, pitching the Raven. Okay. I have 3 mana next turn. I can Brainstorm into Lavinia or Damping Sphere. And I can just slam Blood Moon if I draw it. Come on, deck. Force of Will. All right. A little breathing room. Come on, deck. Force of Will, Hydroblast. All right. I can fend off another round of zaps here. I think I want to put I have this currency converter. Okay. I'm thinking about what if they don't just send it again. They're very likely to. But currency converter plus Shark Typhoon is an engine that I could start applying pressure with. If I put back Island and Brainstorm, or should I just put back the Shark Typhoon? Shark Typhoon is an easy pitch to force to if I get put in that position again. So if I put back Island and Brainstorm, all right, I'm going to go with that. Then Plateau casts Currency Converter, and I can counter Creative Technique and the Demonstrate again, if I need to do that. Tender Farm. And they do have to delete a bunch of lands to send a combo here. Tybalt's Trickery. I can Hydroblast the Trickery. I think I'm supposed to do this. Yeah. All right. Counter the Trickery. They could Trickery from hand and target their throws if they're holding one. That costs them their Sandstone Needle, and I do have the Force of Will, though. Okay, they are Trickerying, targeting Trickery. I think I force pitching Brainstorm here. And then the Shark Typhoon puts 3 power into play next turn, and I can start attacking. But if they have a land in their hand, they can retrace the throws. I could also just Brainstorm and try to see 2 fresh cards here. Yeah, I think I want to dig for one of my sideboard cards, because even Rest in Peace is insane right now. Okay. We didn't get there. I could put back Shark Typhoon, Volcanic Island, cast Ponder, and get 2 more looks, the 3rd card down plus a shuffle, at any of these 2 drops that I'm interested in. They only have 1 Trickery left in their deck, which means that the throws could whiff. Like if they hit Violent Outburst or throws off of Trickery, or they'd have to hit Violent Outburst. Yeah, I don't like those chances. I'm going to put back Island and Shark Typhoon, and I'm going to take my spin on the Ponder, try to find one of those 2s. Powerful sideboard cards. That's not the 2 I was looking for. Shuffle it up. Let's go. Shuffle. Uh-oh. All right, well, all in, baby. I am tapped out and hellbent. Let's see what happens. If they go for it and they whiff, they'll have just Ancient Tomb in hand or in play for mana, and they're way behind. If Creative Technique hits Lavinia or Damping Sphere, like if they demonstrate it, but they might not need to demonstrate it if I'm hellbent. But they're this build that can whiff, so they probably have to demonstrate it all the time. It played a land from hand rather than retrace. Looks like they're also retracing, though. Okay, here we go. Moment of truth. Fingers crossed. Who's dead? They hit a Violent Outburst, which is going to hit a Trickery. And now I have to hope to see a Violent Outburst come off the top. They hit Ingot Chewer? This is a card they play? Oh my goodness. That is functionally a whiff in my book. They kill my Staff of the Storyteller, but it's not Emrakul. Aeon's Torn, that's for sure. Yeah, that Damping Sphere might still win me this game, even though it's not in play. They brought in Ingot Chewer to answer that, and then they pooped off on this awful hit. But still, if I don't find one of my answers, that Throes of Chaos still in the graveyard. They can retrace it again next turn if they have a land in their hand. They prioritize Currency Converter. That's interesting. That is card selection for 2 mana versus card advantage for 1. I thought for sure they would take the Staff. This opens up more sequences that could result in a relevant sideboard card. Lorien Revealed's not it. Draw a card. Come on, deck. Come on, deck. That wasn't it. I'm going to play the Plains so I could cast Lorien Revealed next turn, and might as well attack for 1. I'm not blocking Ingot Chewer. And, I mean, they can send it with any land. Throes of Chaos is super sticky. They're going to combat, which makes me think maybe they don't have anything because they have all these haste engines in their deck. Yeah, wow, they just passed. Okay. They don't have a land in their hand. I'm going to play Prismatic Vista and leave up, I think, Tundra. Yeah, I'm going to leave up Tundra when Lorien revealed. All right, Lorien, let's go. Show me the goods. The Raven. It's here. Okay, if opponent finds a land, they can go. I just have to hope they keep drawing big Cascade bricks and no mana to cast them. And we got another turn. It's tenuous, but we're still in here. Okay, Staff charges both staves. Yeah, this sees more cards this turn. And then if I whiff, I can still play Raven's Warning. I charge the staves. Draw. Yeah, okay, let's go. Now we're in there. Draw for the other staff. Basic Plains. Damping. Sphere. We found it. All right, now I just have to make sure I don't die to Ingot Chewer. Because they just went from 4 mana to 2. Now even drawing a land with the Throes of Chaos doesn't matter. They have to find a green source for something like Boseiju. I guess if they have another Ingot Chewer in play, but they don't even have red mana here. There was a pause in their draw step. Did they play Bonfire of the Damned? No, that's a horrible Cascade. I'm just trying to figure out why they paused in their draw step. I am going to start chumping here because I do think that getting clowned by this creature is their best chance to victory. Okay, let's go. The Raven will charge both staves and gain me 2 life, which changes the clock on Ingot Chewer. Next turn, I get to see what they're working with and see more cards. Draw, found a force. Draw, blue card. Surgical. That might be even better. No, there's no... Oh, there is a technique in the graveyard. Never mind. Stop during their draw step. All right, yeah, they did cast one of those this game. And I don't actually even have to fire this in their draw step unless they deal with the Damping Sphere, because I don't care. If they do something to deal with Damping Sphere, I can surgical their creative techniques in response. Ancient Tomb, that's another 1 mana. There's 4 Tybalt Trickeries in the graveyards. Oh, Throes of Chaos isn't even a line anymore. That might have been why they weren't doing it. One of the Trickeries must have milled 1, because I thought there were 3. Yeah, maybe they do have the land and they just couldn't do anything with it. Okay, 3 colorless mana here. What are we doing with this? Nothing. Okay, untapped it. Okay, we're back. 1 colorless mana. Nope. Changed their mind. They might have thought they had access to red here, but they don't. I'm not sure. They're working through something over there. They're having a hard time. Damping Sphere does that to a Technique player. Fury, okay. That does kill my creatures, stop my draw, and push damage. Okay, that was actually really good. Fury pitched Maelstrom Wanderer. Okay, this is a path to victory. I'm glad I didn't spew off Surgical, because that actually does change the clock. I'm not going to have a flyer to attack with here. That's a flyer. Doesn't have haste, though. Okay, serious question. I could just cast this as a 5/5, or I could cycle it, eternalize it, and charge both staves. I think that's better. Do I have enough white sources to even do that? But that line gets punished by Fury. Yeah, I'm just going to cast it in 5/5 mode now that Fury's on my radar. Bigger than Ingot Chewer, bigger than Fury. I can still surgical creative techniques if they get something going. And if they do something like attack, then finish it off with Fury, then it's in the graveyard for me to eternalize and draw a bunch of cards off of. I'm going to fetch my last Tundra now. And I'll leave 1 fetch still in play for brainstorm considerations and stuff, but we're actually just going to set up Temporal Mastery to 1/2 them right now. Unfortunately, we don't even need that. That stinks. I was hoping to have more fun than this, but they're at exactly 2 hits from Dragon, and this doesn't actually change anything. Clock's still the same. We get to have fun, though. I can cycle Shark Typhoon, which triggers Temporal Mastery. I kind of hope they can kill Timeless Dragon now. They just attack for 5. We're on their turn. Ancient Tomb split them to 1. And we got the GGs. Okay. Woo. This matchup is tough without the sideboard cards. We were very lucky to get through those first couple turns. I had to counterspell them twice, 2 times, and then also survive a whiff, dodge a whiff, and then eventually found the sideboard card. Ooh, but we did it. Damping Sphere continues to grow in my heart. On to the final round.
The official BoshNRoll Island Ponder Keep shirt is available exclusively through Coalesce Apparel. This Magic player-owned business is a staple of our community. They keep this channel on the air, and it's my pleasure to partner with them for this product. Coalesce is the best Magic apparel on the market. They have awesome new designs coming out all the time. Use code BoshNRoll to get 10% off your order, only at coalesceapparel.shop.
I'm on the draw in the final round. Positive records locked. Bread and butter 4-1 on the line. I'm going to keep this. I've got Force of Will, no Ponder, but I do have Currency Converter and Staff. And it's pretty soft to Wasteland, but Lauren Revealed helps that. Bonus on a mull to 5 so far. It's a good sign for my Force of Will, I hope. And a good sign for my mana base that's bad against Wasteland. Underground Sea. Careful Study. Okay, we're Dredge. I'm going to force this because my rule against Dredge is you force literally any spell you can. Just whatever it is. Stop it, because at some point they're going to stop casting spells. Currency Converter. Get that sweet value versus Cabal Therapy. This is either Blue-Black Reanimator or Blue Dredge. More likely Dredge, because Blue-Black Reanimator is not a thing. Alright, they had a second send. That's tough. Unmask in the graveyard. Okay. Could still be Reanimator with just a horrendous hand. Okay, another Force of Will. The Caracas is here. I'm quite certain this is not a Wasteland deck at this point. Yeah, the Unmask is interesting. That makes me think that maybe this is not Dredge. Okay, they just scooped before letting me know. Either way, it's a graveyard combo deck. Surgical's coming in, Grafdigger's Cage, Rest in Peace. We saw a bunch of blue enablers, Pyroblast coming in. Moat's really funny. Dredge can't usually beat Moat. Lavinia's probably good enough. Okay, until I know more, I'm going to do these 6. I suspect Prismatic Ending is bad here. I actually do like Swords of Plowshares versus Dredge. Taking out like a Putrid Imp or an Icarid that's getting in, or a Poxwalker that keeps looping, is high value. And once you remove their bridges, they just become kind of a weird aggro deck where Swords of Plowshares is one of your best cards. Dress Down can probably come out. Though if they're Reanimator, the Dress Down might be good. I have to acknowledge the possibility that they're Reanimator. Dressing Down in a Traxa or a Grizzlebrand could buy me a turn or buy me a big resource exchange. I don't hate Supreme Verdict. I don't hate Narset. The correct sideboard here is definitely Raven's Warning, but I'm going to leave them in on principle. I've been very good about leaving them in this league and not pitching them to Force. I think I pitched it to Force once, but I've been letting the feature card do its thing. I'm going to cut a Staff with the Storyteller. Kind of a grindy, slow card in a matchup that's likely to be fast. I'm thinking the same thing about Wandering Emperor, but she's also one of my win cons. Okay, I will shave 1 Swords to Plowshares, even though I think the card is likely to be good. If I'm unwilling to shave Raven's Warning, Swords to Plowshares is next. Okay, many hate cards in my hand. If they unmask me, I'm in trouble. They kept 7, we're in trouble. I'm also going to keep 7, though. Alright, here we go. It would be great if they just Careful Study and pass the turn. Or they did nothing. Weird. This is Entomb. Alright, I'm just going to shove Grafdigger's Cage. If they Force of Will this and then Entomb Reanimate, I was not beating that with any sequencing. If they have Daze, maybe I could have played around that. Floating Black, Entombing. Trax is in the bin. And Grafdigger's Cage did resolve. I was sure I was getting Dazed based on that sequencing. Ancient Tomb. Oh, we're a Show and Tell deck too? Wow, this is fun. Okay, do I put in Dress Down or Lavinia? Probably Dress Down. Yeah, Grizzlebrand is frozen for now. Unfortunately, I don't have the plow ready yet. I could plow it next turn. Might be too late, though. Yeah, that was an insane explosion of multiple things. Yeah, they're drawing a bunch in the end step here. My plan is to probably Ponder and then cast Swords to Plowshares. I'd like to Ponder first to try to find Force backup, because they are likely to fire a draw 7 in response to... Oh, there's that. Okay. Well, I could still Ponder first. Oh, maybe I should have pondered before even my land drop, and then Caracas just gets the full squeeze here. Alright, I blew that. I was supposed... If I'm going to Ponder, I'm supposed to do it before the land drop. And now I'm not even looking for anything off Ponder, because I already have the Force. I'm going to plow this now. Drawing 7 in response. And that thing is gone. I'm going to play Currency Converter. This might make me lose to Daze, but if they just unmask me a bunch of times or grief me and they've just drawn 14, though that's likely to happen, at least I get to add something to the board. Unmask, pitching, reanimate. Okay. Currency Converter. Provide me with the threats to win the game. I'll convert this Force of Will into some currency. Dark Ritual. Yeah, they could even just cast a grief here. If they have a pivot, they could go like double Bowmaster or something, Shieldred. There's a lot that could happen from this hand. Show and Tell, number 2. I'm going to Lavinia this one. Just shut off griefs and unmasks moving forward. And Force of Wills and Dazes. Seems like the way to go. 10 cards revealed, including Unmask, Lotus Petal. Those can't be cast because of Lavinia. Yeah, this is actually a pretty big miss. I mean, they could take Thoughtseize and strip my Staff of the Storyteller, I guess. But this is all reanimation junk and cards that can't be cast because of Lavinia. They kept the Unmask, though. Well, that's countered. 1 down. Yeah, if they thought they could hardcast Unmask with the Lotus Petal, that might have been why they kept that. They did not keep this off the Atraxa. That's a different Thoughtseize. Oh, that's also a different Thoughtseize. All right, they're going to 4. If there was a time to rip Caracas, it's now. The time is now. My converter is full of currency, though. And I take a Swords to Plowshares, but Caracas is literally GG. End of turn. Dump one of these. Caracas off the top. Let's go. And they discarded 2 cards that get countered by Lavinia. Okay. Caracas. Force of Will. I'm going to try to convert this. Draw and discard. I could still hit and play Caracas here. Timeless Dargon. Yeah, I'll discard the Dragon. Cycling for Plains is not going to be part of this game. And they have a big Vig blocker now. Okay, I'm just F6'd at this point. I find an answer to Atraxa this game, or I do not. Those are the options. Another Ancient Tomb. Unmask, just another countered spell. Perfect. Put that in the graveyard. And exile the Dark Ritual that came with it. Want to cast a Lotus Petal? We've gotten 2 cards off this Lavinia that's in play already. Opponent is learning all the text on that card the hard way. And they're showing me that they still don't care because they got it covered. All right, Show and Tell resolves. Archon of Cruelty kills Rogue. And I lose Force of Will. Okay, now Caracas isn't live. Swords to Plowshares into Caracas is a runner that could hit. There's no outs here. Okay. All right, Show and Tell Juke got me. That means I want my... Oh, my Power Blasts are already in. Okay. Now I know. Swords to Plowshares. I did cut one, and if they are on like a kind of limited game plan, the Plow could be really good. Okay. 4-1 on the line. I think a Raven's Warning can come out for this extra Swords to Plowshares. Sorry, Raven's Warning. We went pretty deep together here. I'm going in. Oh, this hand is just short of what I want, but I have to keep it. I have a Force and a Surgical here, but I don't have a second land to get this counterspell or staff online. Gotta trust the deck to deliver here. Or gotta trust my opponent to shove wildly into Surgical. Those are my options. Tundra, go. Opponent's on 6. Lotus Petal. 1 down. Unmasked, pitching Thoughtseize, targeting yourself. I love that. Okay, they're all in on this. I needed them to shove into Surgical, and they did. Take that Atraxa, please. Atraxa, and there's 4 of these in the deck. Let's see what else is going on in here. Oh, they're just scooping. Perfect. All right, cool. Fended off Reanimator. Blue-black Reanimator, even. To collect that sweet, sweet 4-1. Those 4-1s keep the lights on around here. As far as the deck goes, I mean, we lost the match where my opponent cast a Orcish Bowmaster and we beat everyone else, which is basically the Shark Typhoon experience in Legacy right now. This is one of the hardest hit decks from Orcish Bowmaster's existence, and if you want to play a deck like this, you have to be prepared to fight that card, or be prepared to be grumpy about it existing. But a lot of good back and forth gameplay, and as far as the challenge card, the Raven's Warning goes, it showed up. This was not just like the deck functioning in spite of this shitty card in here. This was actually It drew a ton of cards. We saw our opponent's hand a bunch of times. It set up some really cool stuff. We set up the most insane replenish into Shark Typhoon into Temporal Mastery. That was a real feature of that. And then even just like drawing a card, then finding a Temporal Mastery is mostly fine. It pitches to Force, which is something that's desirable when you're any sort of Force of Will deck, not even just in a meme card that I've added to a kind of real deck. But it does help there too. This is a lot of fun. I love revisiting Sharktail, Sharkstill, whatever we're calling it these days. Staff of the Storyteller popped off a couple of times. I think basically all of our tech cards were good at least once here. Heroic Counterspell, Heroic Dress Down, Heroic Supreme Verdict, Narset, Wandering Emperor, they all came up at least once. I'm happy, very happy with this performance. 93, thank you for the challenge. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon, and I'll see you next time.